For the past 4 years, we've closed out every episode with the Have a Bible Question segment. Guyton Montgomery has done an excellent job of handling those questions alongside Troy Spradlin. We regret that Guyton's not able to continue doing this, but we're thankful for his study, his time, and his dedication for these 4 years. Anthony Dismuke is going to work with Troy answering your questions, and we're excited to be able to have him with us. Anthony's an excellent preacher, and I'm sure you're going to agree with my assessment. Now we have a Bible question for Anthony and Troy. Are miracles today only for those that have the proper amount of faith?
Troy, have you ever seen a miracle?
I don't think that I have.
No, you haven't seen one?
I mean, if I did see one, I don't know that I would say that was a miracle.
Right. Well, so I'm glad you said that. It depends on what we're defining as a miracle, right?
Exactly. What is a miracle?
Right. So we would have to define that because a lot of people will come up with a lot of different terms as to what a miracle is if you ask them to define it.
Exactly.
Some people might say, well, I got in a car accident and I came out of that car accident. That was a miracle. The doctor, I was having surgery and I wasn't supposed to make it through that surgery, but that was a miracle. I made it through. And so situations like that where people say that those are miracles, even to the extent some might say, well, I just made $1,000 off the lottery, right?
I am positive that's not a miracle.
I'm 100% sure that is not a miracle. But the actual definition of a miracle is something that's supernatural, something that takes place, an event or something of that nature that takes place that's supernatural. It's not normal for us to see that. And more than likely by a divine agency, or rather it is by a divine agency that does take place.
Things that God does, the things that Jesus did, as we see in the Bible, even the early apostles, whenever they were doing things that were beyond what is natural.
Correct. And so the point that we make it to answer this question, first of all, is that there's not miracles in today's time.
Right.
Because we know that the apostles are, and Jesus and the apostles are the only ones who had the ability to pass on those gifts, right?
And it comes back to what you said about defining a miracle. Obviously, God can still do a miracle at any time because he's the Almighty, but you said it. Men today don't do miracles, and we know that because of the Bible telling us that those things would come to an end.
Right.
And only apostles could pass off that power.
Right. And those things, as you said, those things have come to an end. And so, but when we have recognized miracles taking place, to answer the latter part of this question about do you have to have a certain amount of faith in order for these miracles to take place?
Faith healers.
Right. So in the New Testament, right, we think about situations where there were miracles taking place. Did those individuals have to have a certain amount of faith in order to have that miracle performed on them?
Right. And based on the question that you're saying is that's today what will happen is you have somebody claiming to do a miracle. Right. And then if the person isn't healed, then their response is, well, they didn't have enough faith. So do you have to have enough faith to have a miracle? Well, I don't think so, because the Bible shows us several instances that there were people who didn't even have faith.
Right. And one of those that we want to look at or which you can notice is John 11:43. John 11:43 is telling us about Lazarus, right? It's about Lazarus being risen from the dead.
Pretty sure he didn't have anything to do with the faith part of it.
Lazarus had no idea he was going to die. He had no idea he was going to. He probably could have came to that conclusion when he got sick and things like that, but he had no intention on being risen from the dead in that situation.
He had no idea what was going to happen.
He didn't have faith in
I
that.
think also of the lame man at the gate beautiful in Acts chapter 3.
Correct.
He was expecting a handout. In fact, in the context of that, you see that it was Peter saying it's through our faith, our faith in Jesus that raised this man. Let me add one more. What about Epaphroditus? He also was sick. Why didn't Paul heal him?
Exactly.
So, no, it has nothing to do with the amount of faith that the person has as far as the miracle. And it brings up, I think the most important thing in this is what's the purpose of miracles, Anthony?
What's the purpose of those?
Yeah.
That's to show God and his might and his power. And who he
exactly.
is.
Mark 16, verse 20, and it says that the disciples went out and preached everywhere, the Lord working with them, confirming the word through the accompanying signs. There was a purpose for miracles. We don't need that purpose today.
Right. We don't need that purpose today. God's providence allows him to work in natural ways that can help us in the society that we live in. So no, you don't need a certain amount of faith in order for miracles to happen or take place, because God is almighty. He could do a miracle if he wanted to, but he doesn't need to, especially in today's time.
Amen.